We know what it looks like when a volcano erupts with enough force to swallow a city whole. The tragedy of Pompeii is written in the earth. The ash trapped the inhabitants exactly where they stood, creating a permanent record of their final moments. But when archaeologists began clearing the volcanic pumice on the island of Thera, the site of one of the largest eruptions in history, they found something different. They found multi-story homes, paved streets, and empty squares, but not a single human skeleton or plaster cast of a victim has ever been found in the ruins. The houses were stripped of more than just their inhabitants. No gold hoards, no silver cups, and no gemstone jewelry. The portable wealth of a prosperous harbor are entirely absent from the cupboards and floors. The people of Akrotiri were gone. Thousands of citizens gathered their belongings and departed before the ash could claim a single life. Yet while their city was perfectly preserved, the people who built it never appeared again. These preserved walls and empty rooms are the only records we have of the civilization that once thrived here. The structures show engineering centuries ahead of its time. These homes rose 3 stories high, long before the temples of classical Greece. Inside, they installed indoor plumbing with clay pipes and underfloor heating, luxuries unknown to much of the world for the next 3 millennia. This was a center of maritime trade, where the air smelled of roasting barley and sea salt. The citizens wore fine linens and traded goods across the Mediterranean, from Egypt to the Syrian coast. Their art reflects this wealth. Painted frescoes show young women in heavy gold necklaces and red painted lips, meticulously gathering crocus flowers to harvest saffron. Painted blue monkeys scale red cliffs, while aerodynamic dolphins leap through stylized waves. Throughout the city, there is no art celebrating war or depicting the power of kings. The focus remains entirely on nature and the details of daily life. This was a society built on trade and the arts, seemingly unconcerned with warfare, yet they managed to successfully organize a total exodus from a collapsing island. The end began with subterranean tremors that cracked the plaster on the walls and sent terracotta vases shattering onto the flagstone floors. But the citizens did not immediately flee. Archaeology reveals that after the initial shocks, they began to clean up, clearing rubble from the streets and stacking damaged building materials in public squares to begin repairs. Then the warnings escalated. The waters of the harbor began to boil, releasing plumes of gas as the smell of sulfur drifted over the docks. Mountain springs turned hot and bitter. The birds grew silent. The sun was obscured by ash, charging the air with static. It was then that they made the decision to leave. They boarded up their windows and left heavy stone jars of oil and wine stacked in their ground floors, clearly expecting to return to the homes they had so carefully prepared. Shortly after they sailed, the island exploded. A column of ash and rock was blasted 25 miles into the stratosphere, illuminated only by volcanic lightning. As the magma chamber beneath the island emptied, the center of Thera collapsed. This displaced a volume of water that generated 300-foot tsunamis, racing across the Aegean to shatter the fleets of the Minoan Empire. A layer of ash 200 feet thick settled over the ruins of Akrotiri, sealing the empty streets in a sterile tomb and preserving the city while the survivors were lost to time. If thousands of people successfully boarded their fleet with their wealth, they should have left a trace of their arrival somewhere else in the Mediterranean. One theory is that they sailed for Crete, 70 miles to the south. But if they were still at sea when the caldera collapsed, they would have been caught in the open water. Ships would have been overtaken by the massive displacement of water. However, no shipwrecks containing the refugees or their cargo have ever been located in the water surrounding the island. If they had reached a neighboring island and integrated into the local population, the sudden arrival of their distinct gold and pottery would be visible in the archaeological layers of the period. No such influx of wealth or sudden population spikes have ever been identified. A wealthy, sophisticated population simply disappeared. This sudden disappearance has led many to connect Thera to the legend of Atlantis. Plato described an advanced island empire that worshipped the bull and was destroyed in a single day and night, swallowed by the sea. He specifically mentioned red and black stone architecture, the same colors that form the volcanic cliffs of Santorini today. The city remains a silent testament to a civilization that walked into the fog of history, leaving behind a legacy of stone and color that the sea has never quite managed to reclaim.